Hey everyone. Sorry this review is like really late, like almost a week late. I had a lot of things to do, had to wash the dog, now he's clean, had to do some legal stuff, but I'm okay. Everybody's okay with that. And I went to a concert too. I saw Straight No Chaser at UPAC in Kingston and they were excellent. Go see them if you're a fan of them. But anyway, on April 10th, I saw Saint Joan at the Friedman Theater, and the cool thing is because I got the rush tickets through Today Tix. They also give me this lovely magazine, and it has like a lot of different shows and people in there, and it also had this like really funny picture of SpongeBob the musical in there, and a lot of cool things, a lot of read-ups and stuff. So that was nice of them to give. Anyway, the show, I saw it on April 10th and it's still in previews. It's opening on April 25th, and the show runs about around 2 hours, 30 minutes with like a 15-minute intermission. The show is written by Bernard Shaw and it premiered in 1923, and there's been like different revivals from that time till now. The show chronicles the last 3 years of Joan's life. Act 1 mostly deals with Joan asking Robert de Baudricourt to give her needed supplies, gaining troops to lead the charge, and her leading France to victory in Orleans. Act 2 opens up with the crowning of King Charles VII and Joan's trial and eventual execution, and the epilogue, which I will discuss later. You have Condola Rashad as Joan. You have Patrick Page as Robert de Baudricourt. You have Adam Chandler Barat as Charles VII. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing names here. Michael Rudko as the Inquisitor. Walter Bobby as Bishop Beauvais. And John Glover as Archbishop of Reims. And there was like a lot of actors that were in this show. Here is the page for that. The set design was really pretty. It was like really gorgeous. It was like this enshrined in like this bright yellow tubing. I honestly don't know the names of these things, but it was just really gorgeous, and it was going to be a show about religion just by the color alone. But it was just really nice. It was simple. It opens up with a table with a bowl of water in it, and that's when Robert walks in, played by Patrick Page, and he like watches his face and everything. Condola Rashad was like a true standout, and she was just so mesmerizing and charismatic as Joan. She played her so flawlessly, and she was just very believable as someone who truly believed that the saints were telling her to fight for the French cause. I also really loved Adam as Charles VII. He was such a weasel, and he was just the complete opposite of Joan. He was just scared to do anything. He really didn't want to fight, unlike her. He was like, oh, let's make some treaties. Let's do some treaties. Let's peace it out. Maybe the English will just leave us alone, which, they didn't. And Joan was trying to tell him, like, dude, we have to fight. We have to fight. We have to fight. The contrast between these two characters is just so awesome to see. I wish I got to see Patrick Page as the Inquisitor, because so many reviews were like just saying how awesome, and they were raving about him, especially on Show Score, about his performance. I thought his understudy Michael Rudko did a good job, which was weird because he did do the Robert character, but he didn't do the Inquisitor character. So I don't know, but he still did a good job. The scene in the second act where all the churchmen were discussing Jones's like potential fate was just like really intense. Some wanted to burn her right away. Some wanted to defend her. There was like one guy, and he was like making such a big deal about her stealing horses, and the one archbishop was like, dude, that's not such a big deal. The big deal that they were more concerned about was the heresy. She just stole a horse so she could like race and save more of France, and they eventually caught her. But he was trying to say, like, we need to focus on the big deal here, which they thought she was a heretic, and she was saying she was not. She was hearing the voice of God telling her to save France, and they just weren't hearing any of it. But I don't know why that one guy was just so focused on the horses, and even the one other character is like, you need to focus on the true crime here. And then towards the end of the trial, at first they were like, hey, if you sign this piece of paper, we'll let you go of these crimes. We'll just say, oh, she just made a mistake. She was just so fanatical that, she was hearing voices. Mind you, she was hearing voices at the age of 13, telling her, to do all these godly things. And they said, sign this piece of paper and you're free. But the catch was, she would be free of these charges, but she would be imprisoned. And as soon as she found that out, she's like, no. Why would you cage somebody for the rest of their life? I can't. She had this whole speech, and Condola was so great. She had this whole speech about, I want to be free. I want to feel the grass beneath my feet. I want to hear the birds. I want to feel the wind in my hair. Caging somebody, even if they're found not guilty, isn't right. And she just tore up the paper and like, well, there's only one other thing we have to do, and that's you have to be burnt at the stake. And she's like, I'd rather be burned than not be free at all, So it was just so intense to watch. It was like, wow, just phenomenal acting everywhere, especially from Condola. The finale ends on this like dreamlike epilogue. And actually, it was my favorite part of the show. It ends like, it's 25 years later, and this retrial clears Joan of her conviction, and they actually found this archbishop who already died. They dug up his body, and then I think they hung it or something. They discuss it in the play. They don't show this in the play. And so Joan is free of all of her charges, especially the main one, which was heresy. King Charles VII, he actually grows up a little bit. He actually becomes a more king instead of somebody who's always hiding in the shadows. He's asleep in his bed, and he's visited by Joan, who's like saying how proud she is that he's grown up so much and that he doesn't hide like he used to. And then a few other characters come into play, like into this dream sequence, including the archbishop and one of the other, I think, religious figures that found her guilty. This English soldier that handed her this cross that he made, and he told her that he did that for everybody, but he still winds up in hell because he's just I guess a sinner. And one of the soldiers shows up that served with Joan, except he wasn't dead. He was just asleep, but his soul decided to visit because somehow he knew she was around. And they were just like all chilling on this big bed, and it was just hilarious because they all had to like scooch in, and King Charles was like, what? Okay, I guess everybody's coming to join me in bed. And they were just chilling and like discussing life and how things have changed between the 25 years from her execution till then. And then eventually, because I was like seeing somebody like come up to the stage. I didn't know what was going on because I'd never seen this play before or heard of it. And this dude, and I'm like, oh, why is this guy coming on stage? What's going on? But it was this guy from the 1920s. And he shows up and he tells Joan that she's now an official saint, and she's also like one of the saints of France other than, Saint Denis. And she's like, what? Really? And also when he shows up on stage, because he's from the 1920s, he's dressed differently from them. And they're just all like cracking jokes on it, how he's dressing, and they're all giving him weird looks like, okay. And he's like, what? Your guys are dressed all weird. And he's like, I'm just here to deliver a message. After that, Joan's like, oh, since I'm a saint, I should be resurrected. And the character's like, no way. The world is still not ready for you to be resurrected. The world does not deserve you because you were such a great person. You held such strong beliefs, and you were all for the cause. And then after the characters, like one by one, they all disappear. The soldier goes back to hell. Oh yeah, and with him, he only gets like 1 day of freedom from hell, and he just gets to enjoy Earth as a ghost, and then he has to go back to hell. And then all the other characters go back to heaven, and the one soldier that served with Joan, he just goes back to his bed, and then eventually King Charles VII just lays down in his bed and he just goes back to bed, and then the show ends. And it was just, I really loved the ending. I thought the lead up was great. The show is a little slow in the beginning, but you'll understand why once it picks up in the second act. And then the second act is like kind of intense, and then you get this funny epilogue. For the stage door report, I unfortunately could not attend the stage door for this. I really wanted to, because this honestly was one of my favorite plays I've seen so far. I really wanted to attend it, but I had to go back home. I had to drive my brother somewhere the next morning. I had to get up early, so I had to make the 10:47 train, and I had to run. And also, if anybody's watching, I really apologize to this one person that I ran into and like kind of kicked the bottle out of their hand. I'm so sorry about that. I just had to get home right away after the show. So I do want to stage door it eventually, and do want to get my playbill signed, but that'll maybe be in the next couple weeks. I know the show is, I think, ending in June, so see this play if you love simple yet beautiful set designs, if you like plays that are both serious and funny at the same time, and if you like historical dramas. Don't see this play if you don't like long or wordy plays, if you don't like plays about religion, if you like plays with a lot of action, or if you were expecting a highly accurate historical play. I know some people were complaining about this show being from the 1920s, and that's like kind of a detriment, but I actually found it profound and relevant to today, especially with this underlying theme that women can fight just as hard as men for various causes, and it doesn't matter. Like, their voices matter. Because she made this point about, it doesn't matter that she was a woman. She was a soldier first, and that was the only thing that mattered. And as somebody that served in the military, I totally understand that. Because some people just don't take you seriously, like, even if you were in the military, like, you're a woman, whatever. How I would score Saint Joan would be a 90 out of 100. I would highly recommend seeing this show. It was really good, especially kind of another person I hope that might get a Tony nom, because she was just so believable, and like every scene you were just drawn to her. Just go see it. Thank you so much for watching this review on Saint Joan. I hope to have more reviews in the future. I am going to New York City in a couple weeks, so I might catch a show or two if I can. So I'll have more reviews for you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.